I'm in the United States, and so every year that we hit Memorial Day, to me, that's kind of like the kickoff to summer. And I've realized that we only have 9 weeks until this kickoff to summer. And if you're not in the US, Memorial Day is at the end of May, and it's really when it starts to get warm here and the kids get out of school and we can start all of our summer plans. And what I realized is that I want to make sure that I am prepared to have the best summer of my life, right? Like, I want to really enjoy myself. I want to be in the present moment. I want to truly be in that feeling of being my ideal self. And my ideal self is always changing, always evolving, always growing. And I just absolutely love it. And I'm sure that you kind of want the same for you too, right? Like, let's get a plan together to become this version of ourselves. And let's do it together, because why not? This would be absolutely amazing. So I am kicking off today 9-week series to becoming your ideal self for summer, right? We're going to kick off the summer. We are going to align to who we want to be. We're going to look at the teachings of many mystics that I absolutely love. I want to share these teachings with you, connect them to scientific studies that show you specifically how to truly create the life that you want. Now, you don't really need the full 9 weeks to create this life, but each one of these episodes is going to build on itself so that you can truly step into a life that you want to live. And with that, I want to welcome you to Unleashing Happiness. I am your host, Cecilia Hendricks. I am here to teach you mindset and emotional regulation and emotional intelligence. So I definitely lean heavily into the teachings of mystics like Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy and Emmett Fox and Carolyn Myss. And I connect scientific-based research with law of assumption, law of attraction principles so that you can truly manifest the life that you want. You can actually create a life that you truly love. I found myself years ago loving many aspects of my life, but feeling like some were just kind of missing. I didn't think that we were here just to wake up, pay bills, go to work, and then get home and maybe have 15 minutes with our family, 15 minutes to do something that we enjoy if we had enough energy to do it. And so I wanted to find a better way to live my own life. And I leaned into law of assumption, law of attraction, figured out how to get it to actually work consistently in my own life, and then started sharing the same process with my friends and family. And then they came back to me and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I feel better. I have more energy. I'm having these remarkable things start to come up in my life, these opportunities and these experiences that I just can't believe that I'm getting to live now. And I said, you know what? I should really start sharing this out with others. I felt very, very drawn to finally start sharing these teachings out with others and make sure that you know exactly how to create a life that you want. So if you're finding yourself on a hamster wheel, you don't know how to quite get the things into your life that you want to be there, this is definitely the place for you. You have landed on the right podcast, and I cannot wait to hear more of your journey. So for this first week of our kickoff to summer series, I wanted to really talk about how to pay attention to your present moment and embody the person that you want to be in these moments. So I'm going to be talking some about Neville Goddard's Feeling is the Secret, which is a phenomenal book. If you're not familiar with it, it is very short, very to the point, and definitely talks about stepping into the feeling of being the person that you want to be. We so often find ourselves either reviewing things that happened in the past, holding on to the things that upset us or the memories that are kind of keeping us stuck, which not to say that that is not a completely normal thing to do. I don't want you beating yourself up if you're doing this. Or we start to fantasize about something coming in the future. And we tell ourselves, hey, I will feel good when I get this thing. So right now, I'm going to try to get this person, or I'm going to try to get this job, or I'm going to try to get this amount of money in my bank account, or I'm going to try to get to this specific weight. And once I get there, then I can feel good and happy about my life. Then I can feel like I'm doing something for myself. Then I can start experiencing the world around me. Then I can start to know what it feels like to be loved. Those feelings don't come from the external, they come from the internal. And when your internal is truly focused on feeling that way in your present moment, that's when the external starts to reflect that back to you. And you don't have to continue going over the past, because I don't want to get too far into this today, but our memories are usually pretty false, right? Have you ever heard that saying that there's always three sides to every story? So it's your side, my side, and the truth. When we look back onto an experience, we are creating that memory over and over again. And the memory can change over time. Your brain will start to create a new memory based off of your current perceptions and what has changed for you. And so I don't want to get too far into this, but there are things that you can do to make sure that you are being the person you want to be today. Neville Goddard's Feeling is the Secret. He says, through his power to imagine and feel, and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. And essentially what Neville Goddard teaches, and what I have seen across many mystics and in my own experience, what you impress on your subconscious is what you begin to experience in the external world, in the life that you're leading. And this is not just the woo-woo spiritual side of things. This is truly what we have shown with science, is that your mind is constantly looking to confirm that you are correct. So what you tell it to pay attention to is what's going to grow. This is truly the basis of law of assumption and law of attraction. And so for this first week, as we're kicking off, getting ready for our kickoff to summer and getting closer to having this ideal life that we want, I want you to sit and consider these words. Spend some time and do what I call a logic loop, where you take a look at something that's happening in your life and start to trace back the attention that you've given it. And how is it actually going? So let's say it's a relationship that has just been getting worse and worse over the years. And unfortunately, you're just frustrated with this person. You think that they're rude. They never reach out when you think that they should. I want you to pay attention to what your beliefs are around that and the attention that you give it. One of the things that I do that I'm always working on to get better about is my internal arguments, my internal conversations. So these are the conversations that I have with others in my head. I used to believe that all I was doing was just kind of preparing myself and semi-daydreaming about what may happen with somebody. But what I realized is that I was trying to avoid any type of disappointment by having the absolute worst type of conversation with them that I could have. Like if I can imagine the absolute worst and I can survive through that, then really if they come at me with it, I'll be ready for it. But what I noticed is that a lot of relationships in my life were not doing that well. And it's not really all that surprising, because internally I was somebody who was frustrated and was always on alert and ready to defend myself. I was always ready to get into one of those arguments that I had already had in my head. So what do you think externally I was putting out to other people? Whether you want to look at that as a vibration or you want to look at that as just the way that I would behave in my body language and the way I would talk to them and present myself, if I'm always ready to defend myself before they've even actually done anything, how do you think I'm coming across to other people? Even in the minor body language things that I would do, right? That I don't even notice that I'm doing them completely unconsciously. But they're creating that person feeling this energy coming across from me. And it could be with anything, right? With your boss, or with the way that you present yourself in an interview, or the way that you behave with your parents or your friends or your spouse or your children. And so when you look at how your subconscious believes the world is going to react to you, your brain is going to say, ah, yes, you're right. Let's make sure that when these things happen to confirm this, that's what we're going to pay attention to. We're going to shut out the opportunities. We're going to shut out the ways that people are being really kind to you and people are showing that they love you. And we're only going to pay attention to the negative stuff. And here's the thing. Don't be upset with yourself for doing this, because we're designed to do this. This is part of survival, right? When we don't have a cushy life and we're in survival mode, we need to do this. We need to make sure that we're paying attention to the threats. But for most of us, we're not in that environment. We can actually let our guard down slightly to at least start to pay attention to the good things that are happening. Start to pay attention to the things that confirm the type of feelings we want to continue to have in our life. This is how you use your own feeling to direct your life. This is how you truly manifest. Neville continues to say, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. What you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. Now, I want to step back here for a minute, because I think a lot of times when people are reading Neville, or really any kind of mystic who's teaching you how to direct your thoughts, or you're listening to me here, you say, well, wait a minute, it says don't entertain this undesirable feeling, but also don't restrain or suppress your feelings. Like, what the heck does that mean? What it means is that you're going to make a choice in those moments of what you're going to pay attention to. In other words, it means instead of just letting your mind run wherever it wants to go and continuing to sit and have these mental arguments or the frustrations or dwell on everything that's wrong in your life, you can acknowledge that that feeling came up. You can acknowledge that that thought popped into your head. We are not our thoughts. You don't have to be so concerned about having a thought. It's the thoughts that you choose to entertain and what you do after them that matters. This is why I teach so much about emotional regulation, because when you're able to regulate your own emotions, you're able to actually make this choice. Then you're able to discipline your mind to say, this is how I want to behave. This is what I want to do. And this is how you use these teachings to actually change your life. Not only will you feel better, but trust me, that is one of the big parts of this. You will feel substantially better the more that you learn how to control your own moods, how to actually discipline your mind on where you're placing it, how to truly step into being the person that you want to be and living this ideal life without fighting yourself. Because that's not what it's about. The thought comes up, that's fine. You are not your thoughts. You are not every feeling that you have. You get to make a choice. And the more that you make that choice, the better your life will be. So you say in those moments, okay, this thought is here. I am not my thoughts. What would I rather dwell in? I'm not denying that it's here. I'm not suppressing it. I'm not going to sit and be like, no, I don't feel that. I don't think that. I don't feel that. I don't think that. Because all that you're doing in those moments is giving more power and more life to those feelings. Instead, make a choice in that moment of how you're going to more so align to the person that you want to be. And of course, this all starts with actually knowing who you want to be and what you want. And you can start very small. I want to feel more confident. I want to enjoy more of life. I want to spend less time on my phone and more time creating a life that I want. I want to get a specific job. I want to get into the university. I want to meet somebody to start going on dates with. Whatever it is, right? You can choose what that is. But it is important to have an aim in life. At least know something that you're working towards. Honestly, even if it's like, I want to make an extra $5,000. It can be anything, very specific or very general. This is up to you. Remember, it's your subconscious. You're not convincing anything outside of you. It's you. But you're also making a choice on where you're going to dwell, where you're placing your attention. For this first week, as we're getting ready to become our true ideal selves and go through this whole process, and you're going to keep joining me because I am so excited to do this. And I truly am making this very actionable, right? Like, you will leave from this knowing how to actually change your life. And so for this first week, what I want you to do is start to pay attention to where your thoughts are. Where are you dwelling? Think about the words of Neville Goddard. I will leave a link down below where you can read the book that I was reading from, the Feeling is the Secret, for free. It's online, and then there's also an audio version on it. This is how, when I first started reading Neville, to be honest, it was like reading a different language, and I couldn't really keep up. And so what I started to do was I would listen to it, and then I would read it, or vice versa. I can't quite remember. And I would go back and forth. And now at this point, I've read the books multiple times, and I still listen to it. And so this website that I'll leave has all of his books. It's an audio version and typed out. It's phenomenal. I am so thankful to that website. It's really quite amazing. But you need to become aware of what you're thinking, what thoughts you are dwelling in. And I want you to make a choice. How would I react right now if I was living the life that I wanted in this very moment? Not, I'm going to do this now so I can hopefully have it later, but what would it feel like right now if I had this solution? If everything was working out for me exactly how I wanted it to, what would it feel like right now? And so this is what I want you to do for that first week. If you have any questions, you can always email me. My email is unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com. Or you can also leave a comment if you're listening on YouTube. Make sure that you for sure subscribe either through your podcast listening platform, or if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I do not want you to miss any of this content, so I want it to come to you when I launch it. This series will be launching every Monday of the week, so you can kick off your week in the best type of way. Make sure that you're motivated, make sure you have your action, and really get going. I cannot wait to hear how this goes for you. So please reach out with any questions or comments if you just want to share how things are going. I would absolutely love to hear from you. And then the only other thing that I ask is that if you did get benefit from this episode, if you are on a podcast listening platform, if you could please give it a rating and a review if you are so called to, I would greatly appreciate it. And it certainly helps out others as well, because then it tells the platforms to start promoting the podcast out to others so more people can get the message, which is absolutely beautiful and phenomenal. And if you're on YouTube, just give the video a quick like so that I know, yes, I like this content and I cannot wait for more. So I wish you nothing but the best. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful week, and I will be back next week, but I will also be on my other channels with some additional content to build on this. So if you join me on my YouTube channel, this Wednesday is launching an emotional regulation and intelligence series that'll build off of this one. They'll be kind of connected, but it'll teach you ways to regulate your emotions, remain focused. It's really going to be a phenomenal series. I cannot wait for this to launch. And then on my TikTok and Instagram, I will be sharing some short form content that is like prompts for you. Make sure that you're staying aligned and motivated, because I think all of us could use a little bit of motivation as we're going along with this. And then I will also be sharing my journey of, really kind of making sure that I am spending my time as my ideal self, living the life that I want to lead and experiencing so much of this beautiful world, because that's something very important to me. So if you have any questions about that, for sure, reach out, leave a comment down below, and I will be back next week. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.